I wake up every morning at 6:40 a.m. Not because I need to, because my body remembers when it mattered. The house is quiet at that hour. Too quiet for a place where 3 adults live. The refrigerator hums. The old wall clock above the microwave ticks unevenly, 1 second shorter than the next. I keep meaning to fix it, but I never do. Small broken things stopped bothering me after my wife died. Margaret used to wake before me. She'd shuffle to the kitchen in her slippers, the ones with the worn-down heels, and put on the kettle before I even open my eyes. Now the kettle stays cold unless I touch it myself. I'm 72 years old, widowed for a year and 3 months, retired civil engineer, bad knees, good memory, at least it used to be good. I sit on the edge of the bed for a full minute before standing. That's new. My legs feel heavy in the mornings, like someone poured wet cement into them overnight. The doctor says it's grief age adjustment. My daughter-in-law says the same thing, just with more concern in her voice. Dad, you shouldn't rush, she tells me. You're fragile right now. Fragile. That word entered my life the same week she did. The bedroom still smells faintly of Margaret's lavender lotion. I never opened the windows after she passed. I know that's irrational. I also know it's all I have left. I shuffle to the bathroom, splash water on my face, study the man in the mirror. Gray skin, sunken eyes, a face that looks like it belongs to someone who needs help. That's the dangerous part. Downstairs, the kitchen lights are already on. Emily is there, standing straight-backed in her silk robe, scrolling on her phone with one hand while stirring oatmeal with the other. She likes routines. She likes control. The kitchen has slowly become hers. New blender, new coffee machine, labeled containers in the pantry. Morning, Dad, she says without looking at me. Your coffee's ready. The coffee machine is expensive. Too expensive. A stainless steel monstrosity with buttons I don't understand. My son bought it for me, though I never asked. Emily says it brews smoother, gentler coffee. Easier on my heart. She hands me the mug. Blue ceramic. Margaret's favorite color. Emily noticed that. She notices everything. I take a sip. The taste is off. Not bad. Just different. Bitter underneath the bitterness. I tell myself it's the new beans. You slept okay? Emily asks. Fine, I say. It's easier than explaining the dreams. She slides a small white pill onto the table beside my bowl. Your supplement. What is it again? She smiles. Warm. Patient. The doctor explained it, Dad. For your nerves. I gnawed and swallowed dry. I shouldn't. I know I shouldn't. But confrontation takes energy, and lately, energy feels like a luxury item. My son, Daniel, comes down 10 minutes later. He smells like aftershave and impatience. He barely looks at me as he grabs his keys. Big day, he mutters. Bank meeting at 10. Mortgage. Emily asks. Yeah, they're being annoying. I look up. Mortgage? Daniel hesitates. Just a second too long. Just paperwork, Dad. Emily touches his arm. Eat something. He doesn't. After they leave, the house collapses back into silence. I sit at the table longer than necessary, staring at the empty chair across from me. Margaret used to sit there, cutting toast into precise squares. She hated crumbs. My head feels thick, biting. The fog rolls in gently like it always does. Thoughts slow. Words lose their edges. I sit in my recliner and let the television talk at me. At noon, I check my phone. No missed calls. No notifications. I try to open my banking app. The password doesn't work. I try again. Still no. That's strange, I say out loud to no one. The last thing I clearly remember before sleep takes me is thinking about the account. The main one. The one Margaret and I built over 42 years. The one with the quiet, comforting number. $412,000. I don't know yet that by the time I wake up, more than half of it will be gone. And I definitely don't know that the small black recorder in my desk drawer, still unopened, still waiting, will become the most important object I own. But some part of me, buried deep under grief and pills and politeness, is already awake, listening. Money doesn't vanish. It is moved. I notice the money disappearing away. You notice mold in a bathroom corner. Slowly, politely. as if it hopes she won't make a scene. It starts with small things. 2,000 here, 5,000 there. Transfers labeled maintenance, temporary, family expense. Words designed to calm, not explain. On March 14th, a Tuesday, I finally managed to log into my bank account after resetting the password twice and answering questions about my first car and my mother's maiden name. The screen takes a second longer than usual to load. That second stretches. The number blinks. $219,384.17. I stare at it, waiting for it to correct itself. It doesn't. 3 weeks earlier, the balance had been over $400,000. I remember because Margaret and I used to check it together every Sunday after church, treating it like a quiet ritual. Proof we'd survived another week without asking anyone for help. My hands don't shake. That surprises me. What I feel isn't panic. It's recognition. I click into the transaction history. February 2nd, $18,000 transfer to D. Halvorsen. February 9th, $27,500 transfer, same name. March 1st, $41,200 labeled mortgage assistance. Mortgage assistance. Daniel's mortgage. I sit very still in my recliner. The leather squeaks under my weight. The house smells faintly of lemon cleaner and something chemical Emily started using last month. My coffee on the side table has gone cold. That evening, I don't say anything. Emily plates dinner carefully. Salmon, steamed vegetables, quinoa. She's decided I need to eat lighter. Daniel scrolls through his phone while chewing, nodding absently when I ask about his day. I wait until the plates are empty. Daniel, I say, my voice sounds far away to my own ears. Did you take money from my account? He looks up too fast. What? The account. Margaret's and mine. I was checking it today. Emily's fork stops midair. Daniel exhales, slow and rehearsed. Dad, we talked about this. No, I say. We didn't. Emily sets her fork down. You were very confused that week, she says gently. The doctor said stress affects memory. I remember numbers, I reply. And I remember not giving permission. Daniel rubs his face. It was temporary, just to stabilize things. Stabilize what? Our situation, Emily answers before he can. The mortgage was at risk. Rates jumped. You'd want us to be safe. I look at her. Really look. Her hair is perfect. Her nails are new. There's a faint smile at the corner of her mouth, like she's explaining something obvious to a child. How much? I ask. Daniel hesitates again. It's not gone. It's just allocated. Allocated, I repeat. Emily reaches across the table and places her hand over mine. Her skin is warm. Her grip is firm. Dad, you're not using that money. You sit at home all day. We're your family. Family. That word does a lot of heavy lifting. That night, I lie awake, listening to the house breathe. Pipes knock. The dishwasher hums. Somewhere upstairs, Emily laughs quietly at something on her phone. I think about the year after Margaret died, how they moved in temporarily, how Emily insisted on handling the bills because numbers overwhelm you right now, how the joint account was her idea. Safety, she called it. By April, my mail stopped coming directly to me. Emily said it was easier if she sorted it. By May, Daniel was handling my investments. By June, I needed permission to drive. The fog comes thicker now. Always after breakfast. Always after coffee. So one morning I don't drink it. I carry the mug to the sink when Emily turns her back. Pour it out. Fill it with water. Sit down and pretend. 10 minutes pass. 20. My head stays clear. The world sharpens. That afternoon, I drive to Staples and buy a digital voice recorder. $79.99. I pay cash. Old habits. I start leaving it in my shirt pocket. I don't announce it. I don't confront. I listen. Emily likes to talk when she thinks I'm drifting. He doesn't even know, she tells Daniel one afternoon. Another month and we can move the rest. What if he notices? Daniel whispers. She laughs. Look at him. I record everything. Dates, amounts, words. On June 3rd, they transfer $62,000 to close a refinancing deal. On June 18th, another $19,500 for fees. Emily explains to someone on the phone that I won't be around forever anyway. I sit in my chair and breathe slowly, counting the seconds like Margaret taught me during labor contractions I never had to feel. What hurts isn't the money, it's the efficiency. The way they dismantle a life built over decades with spreadsheets and soft voices. The way my son avoids my eyes. The way Emily calls me dad only when someone is listening. By the end of July, the balance drops below $90,000. That's when Emily schedules an appointment. Memory clinic, she says cheerfully, just to be safe. I smile back. I let her, because by then, the recorder is nearly full. And I finally understand something important. They don't think I'm dangerous anymore. And that's when men like me become most dangerous of all. If you believe older voices still matter, support this channel with a like and a subscription. The day I let them believe I was gone. The memory clinic smells like disinfectant and burnt coffee, a place designed to feel neutral, which really means forgettable. Emily sits beside me with a folder on her lap, papers neatly arranged, tabs color-coded. She looks prepared, proud even. Daniel sits across from us, scrolling on his phone, pretending this is all routine. His knee bounces. He never could sit still when he was nervous. I notice things like that now. I notice everything. The neurologist is younger than my son. Clean white coat. Calm voice. He asks me to remember 3 words. Apple. Chair. Penny. I repeat them back. Slowly. Carefully. Emily smiles encouragingly, like I've just managed to tie my shoes. We do puzzles. Numbers. Simple questions. I answer most of them wrong on purpose. Not obviously wrong. Just enough. A hesitation here. A confused look there. I let my voice trail off mid-sentence once or twice. The recorder is in my jacket pocket. Red light, hidden, steady. Do you know what day it is? The doctor asks. Thursday. I say, it's Monday. Emily exhales softly, relief disguised as concern. After 40 minutes, the doctor folds his hands. There are signs of cognitive decline, he says carefully. Early stages. We'll need further evaluation. Emily nods. Daniel stares at the floor. On the drive home, Emily talks about assisted living options. Just information, she says. No pressure. I watch the road pass by. Familiar streets I built bridges over once. Concrete that lasted longer than marriages. That night, I sleep better than I have in months. Because pretending to be weak is exhausting. But pretending to be harmless, that comes naturally. I start making lists. Dates, times, account numbers, names of bank managers, Emily's favorite phrases, Daniel's tells. I back up the recordings onto a USB drive and hide it inside an old toolbox in the garage, under wrenches I haven't used since Margaret was alive. I call my old friend Harold. We worked together for 30 years. He retired before me. Knows lawyers, knows banks. Hypothetically, I tell him, what would you do if someone drained your account while claiming you agreed? There's a pause. Then, you documenting? Yes. Good, he says. Don't confront them yet. I smile at the phone. Emily ramps things up in August. She starts giving me pills at night now, to help you sleep. I don't swallow them. I tuck them into my pocket and flush them later. The fog never comes anymore, and that terrifies her. You seem sharper lately, she says one morning. I've been resting, I reply. Daniel avoids me more. He leaves earlier, comes home later. Their conversations move behind closed doors, but they get careless. On August 17th, Emily takes a call in the kitchen, pacing. She doesn't notice me in the hallway. We just need his signature, she says. Power of attorney. After that, it's clean. Clean. I record every word. 2 days later, Daniel brings home forms. Thick packet. He sets it in front of me with a pen. Just some updates, he says. Standard stuff. I flip through slowly. My name, my accounts, my life, reduced to checkboxes. I'd like to read this. I say. Emily stiffens. Dad, it's a lot. You'll get overwhelmed. I'll manage. Daniel's jaw tightens. It's for your own good. I look at my son. Really look? The boy who once cried because he thought we couldn't afford braces. The man now asking me to sign away my autonomy with a straight face. I'll sign tomorrow. I say. I'm tired. They exchange a glance. Relief. Victory almost. That night, I don't sleep. I sit at the kitchen table with Margaret's old calculator, the one with the cracked screen. I add everything up. $327,840 taken. $14,600 in penalties and fees. $9,200 spent on care-related expenses I never saw. Total, $351,640. Enough to erase a lifetime. At 6:40 a.m., I make my coffee. Real coffee. Drink it all. My hands are steady. At 9:00, I drive myself to the bank. The manager recognizes me. We've shaken hands before. He asks how I'm doing. I tell him the truth. Not great, I say, but I'm clear. I place the recorder on his desk. Play the audio. Emily's voice fills the office. Calm, calculating. The color drains from his face. By noon, my accounts are frozen. By 3:00 p.m., a fraud report is filed. At 6:12, Emily realizes something is wrong. She storms into the house, phone in hand. What did you do? I sit in my chair, watching the news. Volume low. I remembered, I say. Daniel arrives 10 minutes later, pale, sweating. You ruined everything, Emily snaps at him. I told you we needed the signature first. They argue like I'm not there. I clear my throat. They stop. I recorded you, I say. All of it. Silence. Not shock. Not anger. Fear. For the first time since Margaret died, the house is quiet for the right reason. And I realize something else then, something simple and devastating. They never loved me weak. They only loved me useful. What remains when the noise is gone? After the money comes back, people assume the story is over. They're wrong. Money is loud when it leaves, but very quiet when it returns. The bank sends letters. Apologies wrapped in polite fonts. My lawyer calls twice to confirm everything is settled. His voice already shifting toward the next case, the next disaster. Harold invites me to lunch, pats my shoulder too hard, tells me I did the right thing. Everyone wants closure. What they don't understand is that closure isn't a door. It's a room you have to learn how to live in. The house feels different now. Not empty, honest. I move through it slowly, touching things Emily rearranged and never put back properly. A drawer that sticks. A light switch wired backward. Little violations I hadn't noticed while I was being erased. I fixed them one by one. On October 12th, I canceled the joint utilities account. On October 18th, I change every password I've used since 2009. I buy a new notebook and write them down in pencil, the way Margaret did. The ritual steadies me. Daniel doesn't contact me again. Not after the last text. Not after the restitution clears. Silence is his defense now. I recognize it. I taught him that silence once meant strength. I was wrong. Emily's name surfaces occasionally. Court dates, deferred charges, mental health considerations. She blames stress, blames grief, blames me according to Harold, who hears things through his wife's cousin who works at the courthouse. I don't correct the record. I've learned that truth doesn't need witnesses once it's written down. One afternoon, I opened the toolbox in the garage to put the recorder away permanently. The USB drive is still there, wrapped in a rag that smells like oil and dust. I hold it for a long moment. Then I snap it in half. I don't need proof anymore. I survived the part of my life that required it. The seasons shift. Leaves gather in the corners of the yard the way arguments used to gather in the kitchen. I rake slowly, methodically. My knees complain. I listen, then keep going. In November, I find Margaret's old checkbook in a drawer Emily never touched. The handwriting is steady, slanted slightly right. She balanced every line to cent. I sit at the table and trace her numbers with my finger. You'd have seen this coming, I say out loud. The house doesn't argue. On Thanksgiving, I eat alone. Turkey from a deli. Mashed potatoes from a box. It tastes fine. I don't set extra places. I turn on the radio instead of the television. Classical music fills the kitchen. Orderly, predictable. In December, a small envelope arrives. No return address. Inside is a single key and a note, written in Daniel's handwriting. The spare, in case. That's all. I hold the key up to the light. It's the old one, worn smooth. The one that used to hang by the door before Emily decided it was unsanitary. I don't go to their house. I don't need to. I put the key in a jar with loose screws and nails and set on a shelf. In January, I meet with my lawyer one last time. We update the will. Charities, scholarships, a modest amount to Daniel, held in trust. Released only if he ever asks me out loud for forgiveness. My lawyer raises an eyebrow. You're generous. No, I say. I'm precise. That winter I sleep through the nights. No fog. No pills. Just dreams that fade politely in the morning. I wake at 6:40 anyway. Old habits. One morning, while fixing toast, I realize something strange. I'm not angry. Anger requires imagination. It asks you to picture what could have been different. I'm done imagining. What I feel instead is narrow and clean, like a room after a fire. Once the smoke clears, and you can see which walls still stand. They thought my life was a resource. They thought my confusion was consent. They thought age meant silence. They were wrong. I am not the man I was before. That man believed love protected him. This one believes in records, dates, and saying nothing until the moment it matters. In early March, I sit at the kitchen table with a cup of coffee. Real coffee strong enough to argue with, and listen to the clock tick evenly on the wall. Time works again. I think of Margaret, of the accounts we built, of the years I handed pieces of myself away because someone called it family. Then I stand, rinse the mug, and turn off the light. Some people steal money. Others try to steal your ending. I kept mine, the quiet account. I keep one account now, not because I need to, because I want to. It's a small checking account at a local branch where the teller still writes my name by hand on a slip instead of asking me to tap a screen. No joint holders. No automatic transfers. No family access. Just my name spelled correctly, and a balance that moves only when I decide it should. Every Friday morning I walk there. Same route. Same pace. I stop at the bakery on the corner and buy a loaf of rye bread I don't really need. The girl behind the counter calls me sir and doesn't ask personal questions. That's important. Rituals matter when everything else has failed you. People still ask about Daniel sometimes. Carefully, as if his name might bruise me. How's your son doing? They say, eyes soft. Mouths already forming sympathy. I answer honestly, I don't know. That answer makes them uncomfortable. They expect bitterness, or grief, or a dramatic story with a clean moral. What they don't expect is indifference sharpened by accuracy. The truth is, I think about him less than I thought I would. Not because he mattered less, but because he already took more time for me than he was entitled to. I don't confuse that anymore. In April, I finally opened the last box Emily left behind. It's been sitting in the basement like an unexploded device. Inside are things she couldn't monetize. Old tax manuals, a broken calculator, Margaret's sewing patterns. At the bottom, I find a grocery list in Margaret's handwriting. Milk, eggs, coffee, blueberries if they're not too expensive. I sit on the basement steps for a long time holding that piece of paper. It smells faintly of dust and something sweet, maybe the fabric softener she liked. For a moment, grief tries to rise the way it used to. Loud, demanding. It doesn't succeed. Grief changes when you survive something worse than death. I frame the list and hang it in the kitchen, not as a shrine, as a reminder of proportion. Some losses are natural, some are chosen, and knowing the difference keeps you sane. In June, I receive a letter from the court. Final notice. Case closed. Emily's name appears once, misspelled. Daniel's doesn't appear at all. That feels appropriate. I shred the letter and take out the trash myself. I don't delegate things anymore. Delegation is how this all started. One evening, while watering the lawn, my neighbor asks if I ever regret taking things so far. You could have just let it go, he says, meaning well. Saved yourself the stress. I turn off the hose and think about it. No, I say, I could have let myself go. That was the other option. He nods, though I'm not sure he understands. Most people don't want justice. They want quiet. They confuse the two. I don't. In August, I sell the big house. Not out of fear, out of choice. It sells for less than Emily once told someone it was worth. That pleases me more than it should. I buy a smaller place across town. 1 floor, 1 bedroom, a narrow kitchen with bad lighting and excellent silence. On the first night there, I sleep without dreams. The walls don't know my history. They don't care. That's freedom. Sometimes, late in the evening, I think about the moment everything turned. Not the bank, not the court, not the recordings. The moment I stopped drinking the coffee. That's what saved me. Not rage, not brilliance, attention. They assumed age meant dullness. That repetition would numb me. That politeness was compliance. They were wrong. Age sharpened me. Routine gave me cover. And politeness gave me time. I still wake at 6:40. I still make coffee. Strong, black, honest. I sit by the window and watch the light change on the floor. No television, no noise, just the sound of a man existing without being managed. That's the part no one ever plans for. The aftermath, where you don't get applause, just space. But space is enough. Because at the end of everything, when the accounts are closed and the names are crossed out and the house no longer belongs to ghosts, there's one final balance that matters. Not money, not family, dignity. And for the first time in years, mine is intact.